Hi, I'm Tish and welcome back to my channel Auto Social UK. Now I always found that keen drivers loved the BMW M135i and the BMW M140 of its heydays. I'm talking about the rear wheel drive of course, because it offered a little bit of luxury, but it was unpredictable and that's what people loved about it. But of course nowadays BMW have opted for most of their cars, apart from the M2 and M240, being all-wheel drive. And that's left some of the old M140 drivers a little bit lost as to what to go for next. Well actually, those drivers are now a little bit more grown up and perhaps this could be their next option. What is this? Well, it's the Kona N, which is Hyundai's spicy version of their compact SUV. It has all the DNA of those old, leery Asbo BMW 135i's, because of course, this has the Albert Biermann touch, just like the i30N, and it shares a lot of components with the i30, apart from the fact that it's not available in a manual gearbox. But is it okay that this car is just two-wheel drive? Because let's face it, a lot of its rivals like the Audis and BMWs are all four-wheel drive, and that means that they can really put all that power to the ground. So does the Kona miss out in that department? Well, hopefully that's what we're going to find out today. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then make sure you're subscribed to my channel. The Kona comes in lots of different flavours. I'm pretty sure you've still got a diesel.
No, it's not true.
You've got a petrol, a hybrid and even a fully electric car, but the Kona N has definitely got the performance treatment. It gets a lower splitter, which is 10mm lower than the standard Kona. You've also got that fantastic lipstick red at the bottom. You've got a new darker satin grille with the Hyundai badge finished in the same. You've also got these vent styles at the front. Now they don't actually serve any purpose unfortunately, but they do help make this car look more aggressive. Because let's face it, when I actually reviewed the electric Kona, I mentioned that it had a friendly Pokemon feel. Very similar to the Honda E, it's got almost a cartoon style look. And it was going to be difficult for Hyundai to make this car look aggressive, but they've definitely given it a good go. I think this looks fantastic. And I love these sleek daytime running lights at the front, so I'm glad they haven't changed them. It's sitting on 19-inch satin wheels, which look great. You've got those fantastic N red brake calipers, and it's finished with Pirelli sport tyres. Around the back, and you do well to confuse this with the standard Kona, there is so much going on. Might I say just a little bit too much. It almost feels that they've gone, okay, let's add that, and let's add that, and let's add that. There seems to be lots of different performance options, but it certainly means that this car stands out on the road. Look at that, you've got this fantastic rear spoiler. You've also got the rear diffuser, which though is fake, it does house those absolutely massive exhausts. You've also got nice little touches of the red detailing again along the bottom, and you've also got a great triangle brake light which is in the centre of the spoiler. But it's not just the exterior which has got the N treatment. Under the bonnet you'll find the same 2-litre TGI petrol engine which you get in the i30N, and this produces 276 brake horsepower. That's enough to get you from 0 to 62 in just 5.5 seconds when you're using launch control. That's nearly a second quicker than the Ford Puma ST. Although when you're not using launch control, it will take 6.4 seconds. Strangely, despite its SUV size, the Kona actually has less boot space than you'll find in the i30N. It will hold 361 litres, which is 20 litres short of the i30N hatchback and considerably less than the cheaper Puma ST. However, I reckon it'll be more than enough for most people, and there's a decent amount of storage under the floor to take advantage of. It would be nice to have an electric boot, but you can't have everything. rear space is unfortunately where the Kona misses out. It's much smaller than the majority of its rivals. Although I'm 5'5" and I've got a decent amount of headroom and an alright amount of leg space. But let's face it, that's set up for my driving position. If you had someone which was more like 6 foot, you would definitely struggle. It's comfortable back here though for two smaller people. You've got a pull-out armrest with 2 cup holders and you've got 1 USB charge point. What is nice though is rear passengers are treated to heated rear seats as standard. Hyundai's N car interiors. There is so much good going on here, but there's also just so much more they could have given us. Let's start with the good things. I love these bucketed sports seats. They feel fantastic and they hug you in corners. They're also electrically adjusted as standard, which is much better than its German rivals. I also love this steering wheel. Leather wrapped with the blue stitching. You've got these fantastic heavy weighted silver manual paddles. You've got the 2 N badges, which are great. The first on the left will change your drive modes and on the right will put you in your N modes, which you can kind of adjust to have to what you like it to be. And then you've got this fantastic big red shiny button, which I'll talk about later. Steering wheel, fantastic. Also, standard equipment. Amazing. I've got heated and cooled seats, a heated steering wheel, I've got dual zone. No, I haven't got dual zone climate control. That's something I always say. That's a bit of a weird spec. No dual zone climate, which I find a little bit odd. But I have got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, satellite navigation as standard. What else have I got? I've got a head-up driver display. I've also got adaptive cruise control, a lot of safety systems, wireless charging. But it just feels a little bit dull. I really wish Hyundai would come out with some ambient lighting. It really is lacking in this cabin. There's no kind of ambient flushes underneath here. It really would be nice if they added those extra touches. And I think if they did, that would really pull this cabin ahead of almost all of its rivals. But that is a very small detail. And if you don't like flashy lights, then you're going to love it in here. At very last, a warm day that I can actually enjoy this car. For the week that I've had it, it's been raining almost every single day, and the Hyundai Kona will squirm in the best of weather. So in the wet, it wasn't much fun. So today, I'm going to really make sure I enjoy it. The 276 brake horsepower that this car has is pretty potent, but of course that isn't the only changes that it's had over the standard Kona. It also gets stiffer suspension, much stiffer suspension, and it also has an electronically limited slip differential. And all these things combined means this car handles extremely well, and those big red brakes also have a fantastic amount of stopping power. If you're into your video games, specifically your driving games, then you are going to love the Kona N. It's going to tick a lot of your boxes. And that's because there's just so many switches and drive modes to play around with to get things set up to exactly how you like them, and then some extra little gizmos and gadgets on top. So we've got the standard drive modes, which are controlled by the left-hand N button. And that means you can toggle between your economy, your normal mode, and also your sport mode. And then you have the right hand toggle, which again is another N. And this will put you into your N mode, which you can completely customize to have it as soft or stiff as you like, although even the softest is not soft. But you can also have your exhaust as loud as you'd like it, and also you can customize your steering as well and have it as weighted as you'd like, which I think is fantastic. But you've also got some additional little buttons. So down on your left hand side, you've also got some options for driving in the snow, for driving in sand, although as a front wheel drive I can't really see how that will work. But I guess if you are in a tricky terrain, then it will help the car understand what it needs to do to get you out of trouble. But don't ever think it's going to perform like a four-wheel drive, because it's not going to. But there is one last button left on the steering wheel, and it's a big shiny red one which says NGS. And this stands for N Grin Shift. And essentially, this is your NOS. How great is that? So hit this button, and for 20 seconds, you'll get 10 extra brake horsepower and some more torque as well. Basically, if you're at the lights and you want a little bit of extra showing off power, then this is the button you hit. But does the Kona N miss out by not being all-wheel drive like some of its competitors? Well, I'd care to say no, because not having that all-wheel drive system means this car is much lighter. It also means that it's slightly cheaper to buy as well, making it more competitive and fitting it under that 40k mark. And plus, it means that you can have a lot more of that personality that we got in those classic BMW cars. If you like a car which is going to look after you, then perhaps you want to go for something that has the four-wheel drive system. But if you want something that's going to absolutely keep you on your toes, then this is it. Clever safety technology and keen drivers don't usually go hand in hand. Most keen drivers usually tend to dislike safety technology. However, the Kona seems to have it absolutely nailed. Let's start with lane assist. A lot of people don't really like lane assist. Some people enjoy it. But with the Kona, it's turned off the majority of the time. And to turn it on, you just hit a button on the steering wheel, which I think is the much better way of doing it, rather than it being default on. You've also got anti-collision warning and a clever blind spot system. So when I was on the motorway the other day, I nearly pulled out someone that was in my blind spot because rear visibility isn't great. But the Kona simply wouldn't let me. It was a lot of beeping and it kind of tugged me back into my lane, which was fantastic and definitely saved an accident. And last but not least, this car has a very cool system, which actually tells you when a double bend is coming up. So if you're going for a bit of lively driving, you're not going to have any nasty surprises. Around town is where the Kona N starts to be slightly outshone by some of its rivals like the Puma ST. That stiff suspension, when you're not throwing it into corners, suddenly becomes quite noticeable. However, this is where the 8-speed automatic gearbox becomes quite nice to have. It's smooth and it's got really nice gear shifts even at low speeds, which mean that the car becomes very enjoyable to use. So if you still need convincing that you should buy a Hyundai Kona N, then what about the warranty? 5 years, 100,000 miles. That's much better than its German rivals. Plus, what if you wanted to turn up for a track day with the kids in the back? Yeah, you're covered. Hyundai cover you for track days in the Kona N as well. And on top of all of that, of course, they're quite reliable. Hyundai have always scored very highly in reliability. What are you waiting for? So the last thing that we're left to chat about is the price. Now the Hyundai Kona N will set you back just over £36,000, but there is only one configuration, which makes this car an extremely well-rounded package. But the only thing is it is slightly more expensive than the i30N. Plus it has less space and a little bit less performance because the Kona is heavier. So that does beg the question, why would you opt for the Kona? But let's face it, tons of people love SUVs. And if you're one of those people, then I think this is a fantastic option. And let's face it, at £36,000, it fits quite comfortably under the £40,000 tax threshold, meaning this car is just £140 to tax a year, a lot less than the four-wheel drive rivals. It does sound expensive when you compare it to the Puma ST, but the Puma ST has 200 brake horsepower, this has 276, and it's altogether a much more powerful and aggressive animal. I've loved the Kona, but let me know, what do you think? Pop it in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a massive thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos from me, then make sure you subscribe to Auto Social UK. Until next time guys, see you later.